Hello, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday with 3W. Wellness Wednesday is sponsored by 3W Medical for Women, a nonprofit medical clinic offering free of charge or low-cost reproductive health services to women in the Seattle area, regardless of income or insurance status. 3W does not profit off of the reproductive health choices women make. The information shared in this podcast is the opinion of the speaker or speakers. Medical information is not intended as individual medical consultation, but for general education only. Always consult your own health professional for personalized advice regarding medical decisions. And if you're in the Seattle area, consider making an appointment to consult with us. I'm Helen Nguyen, CEO and co-founder of 3W Medical for Women and the host of today's podcast. Hi there, Wellness Wednesday listeners. Welcome back to another episode. I was just telling our guest here that I think we're coming up to our 4th year of our 3W Wellness Wednesday podcast. It's just been such an honor to be able to host this podcast. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned so much. I'm back in the studio because I saw this wonderful article about our guest speaker today. She turns out to be local. That was like the hook for me when I was reading through it. And I was like, okay, this is a sign. I need to have her on our podcast. Her story and her family are just beautiful. I went on to, Madison is her name. Hi, Madison. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello.
I went onto your Instagram and I scrolled and looked at all of your beautiful children, both of your boys. And it's just an incredible story of resilience and just a different conversation. I think that most of us are aware of it, but until you live it, until you know the day to day, you kind of get this like, people are incredible. You are incredible. Your children are incredible. Your husband's incredible. And the cool part is they're like a hop, skip, and a jump away in the area. And you guys just have this amazing story to tell. And it was just super inspiring to me. So Madison is here via Zoom today. Thank you for joining us, Madison.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So your story got picked up by People magazine, which is very interesting to me. How did that happen, Madison?
We had a video of my oldest son, Riker. We put it on TikTok and it just went totally viral.
Wow.
It's a video of him opening the car door with my husband had tied a rope around the handle. My son has upper limb deficiencies, and so he is a foot user. And so he had been complaining that he wanted to open his own door. He's almost 12. It's a mindless thing where you're getting ready to go and you just open the door and let him in. But he wants that independence now.
Yeah.
And so we were tying this rope and making it adaptive for him. And he said, "Mom, you should video this." And I was like, "Okay." And so we just videoed it. And then he was like, "You should video me putting my seatbelt on too, so we can show people how I do it." So we did that, and then he used his foot to do the seatbelt, and then he goes, "Okay, let's put it on TikTok." And so we did, and it went totally viral. And we had a lot of people reach out and want to share our video. I just get a little bit like nervous about that. And then all of a sudden, I received a message on TikTok, and it was this journalist from People, and I didn't know if it was real or not.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, "Email me, or we can have a phone call." And so I was like, "Okay, let's just see." And it was legit. I didn't believe it until she actually called me to interview me.
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't know, maybe this isn't real. Why would people want to call us?"
Yeah.
And then it took a little while. This was back in April.
Okay.
And nothing came out. Nothing came out. And I was rocking my 3-year-old to sleep. And I was thinking, I wonder if they're really going to write that. Maybe they just went a different direction and they were like, "Nah, we'll pass." And I had an email and it was up and live, and it was just crazy and very emotional and exciting. And there's positives, there's negatives, there's all the feelings. So, but I think overall, it was really cool. It's a really cool experience.
Your son was so smart to be like, "Mom, record this."
Yeah, he's at that age where I'm not ready for him to have his own social media account.
Yeah.
But he does love to share his life. He loves for people to see how he does things and
Mhm.
how we think he's cool, we think he's great,
Yeah.
but some of the things that he does on the day to day is just so normal in our life. It's just Riker.
Yeah.
So we forget. I mean, we don't forget how amazing he is, but it's just so normal. And
Mhm.
so then when other people see it, I think it's great for him too, and like a boost of confidence for him in this space where he's preteen. The feelings, the
Mhm.
emotions are a lot, but it's cool to have these people tell you how incredible you are and to remind you that what you do is so amazing.
Mhm.
And like you said, like people tell us all the time, man, I have nothing to complain about. What do I have to complain about?
Yeah.
And it is true, but it is funny for us because we just feel like we live a normal everyday life. We just have like, well, extra things that we have to adapt or extra appointments
Mhm.
that we have to go to. But
Mhm.
overall, for us, we're like, no, it's normal.
That's such a testimony to you and your husband for
Thank you.
not you guys are obviously doing something right because
Mm,
your children are happy, they're healthy, they're like well-rounded normal boys in so many senses. Like they don't feel like, "Oh gosh, don't videotape this, mom. This is like something so
yeah.
weird that I don't want anyone to see me doing this." And instead, they're embracing it and saying, "Hey, can you capture it in television or like on your phone and then can we put it on the internet so the world can
Yeah.
see that I'm pretty incredible?" So you both have obviously created such a healthy environment for your boys that they want to share with other people and we get to benefit from it. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really sweet of you. I think that my husband and I question ourselves every single day as
Oh,
parents too. And I
that's
think
just
that,
yeah, that's normal being a
yeah.
parent. There's no
Right. I
handbook.
had No, there's not, and I someone told me that if you're not questioning if you're a good parent, like, you should question that,
Yeah.
but when you're questioning yourself, like, you're doing it right.
Yeah. Being self-aware of okay, we're imperfect beings raising other people. And that always hits me really hard. So
Mhm.
my husband and I adopted our son 4 years ago. And whenever I mess up, like royally mess up, I'm always just like, why did we get this most like precious gift that we begged God for so long? And
Mhm.
then I'm just
Mhm.
screwing it up royally. And it's okay, tomorrow's a new day. And hopefully I can wipe the slate
Totally.
clean and just be like, okay, I can do this again because they are such beautiful gifts that we get to be responsible for not very long.
Yeah.
Not very
I
long.
tell my 11-year-old, I tell Riker all the time, "This is my first rodeo. You have to give me grace as much as I have to give you grace. You've never been 11 before, and I've never had an 11-year-old before. So
Oh, that's so
this
good.
is quite literally my first rodeo."
That is so good. Yeah, that is so good. Yeah, I was telling my staff the other day that my 4-year-old had a major tantrum at breakfast because how dare I cut his pancakes the wrong
Oh,
shape. They were
mhm.
supposed to be in triangles, and I was like, "Whoa, buddy, what is this? No one told me that you were gonna have a major flip out because
Mhm.
I forgot to cut your pancakes the way that you wanted me to, and I couldn't read your brain."
God
And there's
forbid,
yeah.
mom.
And even if there was a manual, it changes day by day of how they grow
Oh,
and
yes,
what they're gonna have a meltdown about, and there's just, oh
100%.
yeah, you're just like, "Okay, bud, next time you have to communicate." And he's like, "Communicate? What does that mean? Why didn't you know my needs?"
Read my
Yeah.
mind.
It's wild and it's wonderful, and it really doesn't it teach you just the utmost, like, stripping of you don't know anything,
Yes. My kids
patience.
humble me every
Yeah.
day. If I like, truly, if you need to be humbled, you just go to a child,
Yeah.
especially your own.
Yeah.
They will be so brutally honest with you, especially these preteens. Let me tell you, they are very honest with you.
Really? I'm not looking
Yes.
forward to
Well,
that.
and even toddlers, I feel like toddlers are even the same way, where you're like, wow, okay, tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
And you know it's the truth because they don't know anything about lying.
Yeah. They're the best. They're wonderful, right? I wanted to shift focus really quick on your story in the sense that it started out with your own personal health journey growing up. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And when were you diagnosed? You were born with it, but can you tell us what the syndrome that you have, and it's very rare. I've never heard of it
Yes.
before. I had to Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, like, surprising it's on Google now at this point.
Yeah.
Before, you really couldn't even Google it, but
Yeah.
I was 9 months old when I was clinically
Okay.
diagnosed. When I was born, my parents had no idea. I came out and they were like, "She has 4 fingers.
Wow.
What else is wrong?"
Wow.
So, it's pretty terrifying for my family because there's nobody else in our family that has it,
Okay.
which is also very strange because it is genetic. There's a 50% chance of passing it on if you carry it. But they've told me that if you don't pass it on, that child is not at risk of passing it on. It just ends right there.
Oh.
So they just told us it was like a spelling error in my genes that happened. So yeah, 9 months, they clinically diagnosed me.
Okay.
And I wasn't genetically diagnosed until after I had Riker. And it wasn't until he was about 6 to 9 months also that both of us were genetically diagnosed.
Can you officially tell us what that diagnosis is?
Yes. So it's Lacrimo-Auriculo-Dental-Digital LAD syndrome.
Okay.
And when I was born, they told me I was the 13th case recorded.
Whoa.
And this was in 91. And
Wow.
when Riker was born, they had told us that there was roughly 50 cases. So it had gone up. So I was 22 years old when I had Riker. It had gone up quite a bit, but still very low and very rare. What they had told us during pregnancy, I'm moving in a backwards, but
That's okay.
they had found that Riker was missing a limb.
Okay.
And so immediately we knew we needed genetic testing, and we had figured it was LAD, but there had never been any cases reported with missing limbs. So,
Mm.
from our understanding, my husband and I went to genetic counseling when we were only 19 years old because we knew like one day we wanted to have a family. What does that look like for us? And they basically had told us same severity, 50% chance, a missing limb. I have 4 fingers myself. So they said that would be the severity. And for me, I grew up having multiple hand surgeries, but it never affected my day to day. I had a
Mhm.
wonderful childhood,
Mhm.
did all the things. So for us, we were like, yeah, we'll have babies one day, like,
Mhm.
no problem. So when we got pregnant with Riker, we were completely shocked because missing a limb was never recorded. They didn't even think that it was LAD at that point. They were like, potentially LAD had genetically created some other syndrome that we didn't know. And it was so rare that they didn't know where to go. So we did the amniocentesis, we did genetic testing, all of it, and
Mhm.
everything came back normal. There was no LAD, there was nothing. And they were like, it's just an anomaly. We
Mm.
don't know what happened.
Mm. Mhm.
And so we were like, okay, but there has to be something, right? This is crazy. So we had him, and my doctor, Dr. Chang, was like, we want to dig deeper. We want to send your blood work to a lab in Chicago. They have seen LAD before, they've studied it. Like, they're like the only people I think ever that really know about it. So, sent it there, and they took months, and they found that it in fact was LAD, or
Wow.
is LAD,
Yeah.
but it is the rarest form that they've ever seen. So typically when they genetically diagnose someone, it's in this specific area of the gene, whereas ours is, I don't know, deeper into it. I'm not very good with DNA
It's
and all of
okay.
that. I
It's
didn't go to
okay.
school for it. So basically, yeah, it's just in a different area that they don't typically look at and they've never seen before. So
So it's kind of like a
of a
spectrum? Okay.
apparently there's I think that the typical lad is here, and then we're like off over here in this
Okay.
other area. We're apparently the rarest form of an extremely rare genetic syndrome.
That's wild.
It is wild and also kind of a relief
Mm.
to find out that it was just LAD. Obviously, for most people, it's very scary having a child with limb deficiencies. And it was as we were 21 years old when we found out. So it was absolutely terrifying. We were
Yes.
kids. But knowing that it was LAD and knowing that there was no other major, his heart was good, his brain was good, his lungs were good, his kid, like everything else was good. It
Mhm.
was like we could breathe and be like, okay, we can handle this. And obviously, he was here, he
Yeah.
was thriving.
Yeah.
He was also on a feeding tube. So there was that too, where we were like, he was born with nerve palsy on the left side of his face. So he could never have suction. He really struggled with that. And so he came home on a feeding tube and then a G tube at about 3 months old until he was 4, actually. And so I didn't have that problem, and so that's where there was just a lot of things that we were like, "Could it be this? Maybe it's this."
Mhm.
So it was a relief to find out that it was LAD, and the nerve palsy was just something that was added and didn't have any really other effect besides he has a cute little smirk when he smiles. It's like a little half cute,
Oh.
handsome smile.
Yeah. Wow, wow. So what was your husband thinking through all of this?
I am so grateful for the person that he is because I feel like not any other, but a lot of 21-year-old boys would have been running for the hills like, "Oh, I cannot do this.
Yeah.
I'm out. We're
Yeah.
over." But
Mhm.
I think my husband always knew going into it that there was a possibility of LAD.
Mhm.
And he knew growing up I had these surgeries, we could potentially face that. But he was prepared. He was stronger than I was through all of it. He was like, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. He was like, he held me up through the pregnancy, really. He was like incredibly strong. I don't know where got that strength from, if it's just it is him, but I think he just knew too I need to like really be the rock in this because
Yeah.
being pregnant already you have high emotions,
Yeah.
but then adding on a diagnosis and preparing and being young and having doctors doubt us. We weren't married at the time. We were young. We
Mhm.
were having a baby with these disabilities. All of the odds were truly stacked against us.
Mm.
And he was like, no, I'm stepping up and we're proving all these people wrong.
Wow. It's a incredible man, because that's very
Yes,
rare these days. Yeah.
truly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, you just mentioned that you guys were very young and not
Hmm.
married, and the cards were stacked against you guys. So, were there people in your lives that were telling you guys, this is not something you guys should move forward with? This is not something that quality of life for both you and your child were not going to be great. You should move towards a different decision. Like people in your circle, your
Yeah.
community?
So honestly, no. Our
Oh,
families were very scared,
mhm.
as any parent would be.
Sure.
We got the news. We went to our very first appointment and they told us that something didn't quite look right with the arms. So we
Mhm.
need you to go and get a deeper ultrasound, longer maternal infant care. And so we knew that next week that we knew there was something. So we had prepared our families and said, it probably looks like the baby has LAD. There's
Mhm.
something with the hands, maybe. And so we were all a little bit prepared for something.
Mhm.
So when we went to the ultrasound, and bless this ultrasound tech, because I know I think she felt so sad for us because it was a 45-minute ultrasound of her looking for his left arm, like almost the whole time. She was like, "Oh, maybe he's laying on it." And I'm like, "Okay, I know this is my first pregnancy, but I know that at 11 weeks, this thing is teeny tiny, and there's no way he's just laying over there and you can't see it.
Yeah.
And after finding out, immediately we went into genetic counseling, and she right away said, "It doesn't look like the baby has the left arm,
Mm.
and the right arm is very unclear of what may be." And of course, I started crying, and I'm just like laying in my husband's lap. We were not married at the time, but I'm just laying in his lap crying. And she's like, immediately, "So let's talk next steps." Instead of letting us digest it and
Mm.
go home,
Mhm.
and as of right now, the baby only has physical things.
Mhm.
They found everything else. The heartbeat was great. But she immediately was like, "You need to think about this baby's quality of life
Mm.
and how much potential you guys still have in your life and
Mm.
how young you are. And if this is something you guys would really want to take care of." And it
Wow.
was just, I looked at her and I said, "We're leaving." Immediately, it was like, you
Mm.
gut punch me. It was terrible. We went home, we cried, we text our families, which I highly don't recommend doing because it was so sad. But we were like, "This is what happened. Please don't call us. We need space." And our
Oh.
poor families had to sit on that for a few hours while we went home. And my
Oh.
husband and I just curled up in a ball on the couch, and we literally just cried for, it felt like a really long time.
Mm.
But my husband just immediately he was like, "Okay, we're done. We
Mm.
cried. We're good. Everything's gonna be okay. Like, you wanna move forward. I wanna move forward. This baby is gonna be so loved. He's not gonna know any different." And that's when we started calling our family, and we were like, "Okay, we're good.
Mm.
You don't need to question it. We're moving forward. We're having this baby." And there was not one person in our family that was like, "Are you sure?
Mm.
Do you think you should do this?" They were like, "We love you guys so much. How can we support you?" And our family came over that evening. My sister brought me, I still have it, a framed ultrasound. I brought it to me as like a gift. And we all just had dinner and we celebrated instead of it being like this dark cloud. We just celebrated. And I said, "I don't want anyone else to know." I didn't post or share on social media. Back in 2013, social media wasn't what it is now,
Mhm.
but I wanted to have as normal of a pregnancy as possible because I knew how difficult it was going to be. I didn't want any outside noise or people questioning our decisions or making it more difficult on us. So it really was only our immediate family that knew.
Yeah.
And then the only other people that questioned were genetic counselors, and they did it every appointment.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
an amazing story, and I'm so grateful for your family. What an incredible group of people that you guys have in
Yeah,
your
we're very blessed.
yeah, in your circle, because that could have gone so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I'm
Mhm.
so grateful for that. Going back to when the sonographer you said, "What are you guys gonna do?" She didn't even give you time to really digest the news or the information. What led you to say, "We're leaving"? What led you to have that insight, I guess? Like, that's like a really powerful, insightful thing to say to someone that's, in an authoritative position. Because that's
Yeah.
what we see a lot of the time in our patient population is
Mhm.
they come here because we actually have a conversation about the diagnosis. There's not, "Well,
Yeah.
you're going to do this, right? Because your quality of life and the baby's quality of life." There's
Yep.
this assumption that quality of
Yes.
life gets to be determined by people who don't know the future, quite
A
frankly.
100%. A hundred
So
percent.
what led you to say that?
Um,
Because that's really amazing.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I think that for me, I was like, I'm not God. I can't, I don't know what is going to be, but what is going to be is going to be. This was the cards that we were dealt. This is what he gave us.
Mm.
And I think we've always said God only gives you what you can handle.
Yeah.
And even if we don't understand it or it is really difficult, you always get through it. And I don't know, I think I just that already maternal instinct inside me was like,
Yeah. What?
this is my baby. This
Exactly.
is, and I think too, she was so cold and there
Mm,
was no compassion behind the way that she was going about it. Maybe if
mhm.
there was better facts or empathy. It was very cold. It was very,
Matter of fact.
this is what you need to do. Yeah. And I don't know, just something in me was,
Mm.
and my husband was like, oh, yep, okay, we're leaving. And he's always been very good at I lead in certain situations like that, especially medical with our
Mhm,
boys. He's
mhm.
very much, I will give my 2 cents, but she's the leader.
Mm.
And so, yeah, he was, as soon as I was like, we're leaving, we're done. He was like, grabs my stuff and he's, let's go. Not another word. Let's go.
That's a smart man. Never stand
Yeah.
between a mother and her children, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. That mama bear is
Yeah.
strong. And even when you have
Yeah.
this little itty bitty baby that, is
Yeah.
barely a little baby in there,
Yeah.
it's like that instinct just, I don't know, just a natural thing.
Yeah. So would you say to some of our listeners out there that natural maternal instinct is pretty instant, right? It doesn't
Yes.
regardless of where the baby is, like in utero, outside, like where the
Hmm.
location is,
Yep.
right? You have this like instant, you don't touch my kid, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It is so insane, and then when they're here, it's even heightened,
Yeah.
and you're like, "What is this?"
Yeah. Yeah. You would just I always say this on our podcast, like, I'm not exaggerating it. Like, when you have this instant bond with this child, you would be like, "I will jump in front of a freaking bus for you,"
Yes.
and do it
Yes.
without hesitation because
100%.
yeah.
It is so incredible, and it's something that, yeah, I hope that everyone gets to experience at one point in life,
Yes.
how, and
Yeah.
however that looks,
Yeah.
because even adopting, one of my girlfriends just adopted,
Yeah.
and it's just this incredible love and
Mhm.
bond, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's just natural, it's
Mhm.
immediate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a superpower that women have because I think we would do it for any child. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even have to be yeah, for me, it was, like, not biological, didn't give birth to this
Mhm.
child, I didn't grow this child in my body,
Yeah.
and yet, just knowing that he exists in this world, right, was just like, "I would die for you," without
I feel the
hesitation.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my nieces and my nephews,
Yeah.
those are my babies.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
didn't birth them.
Yes.
I'm aware I'm their auntie, but they
Yeah.
are my babies.
Yes. Yeah. Don't look at them like that. Or,
Yeah.
like, tell me to
No.
get rid of them. It's
Mhm.
wild. That instinct is definitely a grace and a gift that we get. And it's so
Yeah.
unique to our femininity as women that it should be protected and glorified as much as possible. I think we
I
downplay
agree.
it, right? I think, like, sometimes we see patients that we have to break the news to them that, yes, this is a
Mhm.
pregnancy that was not planned, but it
Yeah.
is the reality of the situation. And
Yeah.
to encourage them to be like, okay, all these emotions and all these like instincts that you have, we want to bring it to the surface because it is good.
Mhm.
It is so good
Yes.
because you were
Yeah.
made to protect the most small and innocent people in our world. And that
Mhm.
is so good.
Mhm.
We want to embrace we want to help you embrace that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even I think when you find out, obviously there are so many different levels to it,
Yeah.
but when you do find out that there are problems
Yeah.
or it's not a typical pregnancy, the baby might struggle or things like that, it is
Yeah.
terrifying.
Oh yeah.
It is
Yeah.
so scary to hear those words,
Yeah.
and not only like the mama bear a part of it, but then the part of for me and my husband, I was like, man, we're barely scraping by in life right now. My husband was working 3 jobs. I was nannying. We were so broke. We had no furniture in our condo. We had a red leather couch, and we bought it because we were like, we have no other decor. Might as well let our couch just speak for our condo.
Yeah.
And so for us, we were like, we can't even take care of ourselves. How the heck? a baby,
Mhm.
but then add on a baby that's gonna have special needs. It was like, I don't know how to take care of a limb deficient child.
Mm.
I'm not handy, or I'm not like my husband was thinking, I'm not handy. I don't know how to adapt things. I don't
Mhm.
use tools. I'm not the right dad for this kid. And I'm thinking, I can barely take care of myself. How am I going to take care of this baby? But you just do.
Mhm.
And it does come with that like motherly instinct, but you just do. And it seems impossible in the moment, but you just do.
Yeah. Yeah. You make it work. Most of the time, your children don't know anything different. They're just like, I'm happy and I have a roof over my head and I have 3 meals a day and snacks in between. Like,
Hmm.
all they care about is if you would
Yeah.
show up for them. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I always say
Truly.
adults complicate things. We
We
complicate
do.
things. We make things
We
so
do.
complex and so difficult, and we jump to conclusions like, how do we just get rid of this problem and
Yeah.
not suffer?
Hmm.
Because God
Hmm.
forbid we suffer in this world, and we just make things a lot more complex than they have to be. So getting back to your story of just your family is amazing. It sounded like they rally around you and was like very encouraging. But then you mentioned that the medical system wasn't the case. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? And because that was like the title of your story.
Yeah.
And you
Hmm.
mentioned before we got started that it was very much clickbait to get people to click on the article to read. But there is a silver lining of truth there of you
Yeah.
were pressured by other folks in your life to terminate this pregnancy.
Yeah. Up until 24 weeks, we were
Wow.
questioned,
Wow.
even though in our file I had said, please stop asking.
Wow.
They continued to ask. One thing that wasn't noted in the article as well, which understandably they asked because they were worried about Riker. We found out at about, I want to say 19 weeks, that his they couldn't really see his stomach. They saw his stomach, but it looked really small.
Mhm.
And so what they had said was he may have a T fistula where
Mm.
his esophagus didn't connect to his stomach. And worst case scenario would be right after delivery, they would check him. If he had it, they would have to send him to Children's Hospital for immediate surgery.
Mhm.
And for us, we were like, okay, still moving forward.
Mhm.
It was 19 weeks. We had just found out at 18 that he was a boy. We had picked out his name. This was our baby.
Yeah.
And so they just continued to ask. But even before that 19-week, before finding out about his stomach and potentially having a T fistula, they still asked us to terminate
Mm.
because of his quality of life. And it was just based on his upper limb deficiency.
Okay.
And it was genetic counselors. It was never my OB. She
Okay.
was so incredible, encouraging. She was like, whatever you need, this is what we're doing. I think if she would have known that they were questioning us so much, she would have made sure that didn't happen.
Wow.
And I understand genetic counselors. Like the big thing that people commented on were doctors don't tell you have to terminate, they give you options. And yes, there's a degree to that, but they were very pushy in terminating. It was never an open conversation of these are the pros and these are the cons. This is why you should, this is
Mhm.
why you
Mhm.
shouldn't. Like we had talked about the empathy and the compassion, it just wasn't really there. And a lot of it, my husband and I felt because we were young, they
Mm.
didn't think that we could do it, that
Mhm.
we were not married. And divorce rates and separation rates are really high with families with kids with disabilities.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is a valid concern, but yeah, it was incredible up until 24 weeks. Right at 24, they were like, right before, it was like, okay, it's now or never. Did you change your mind? Have you changed?
Wow.
Have you made a final decision? I made the final decision at 11 weeks when we
Yeah.
first found out. It was an unfortunate piece of our story, but I am very happy with how strong I stayed throughout
Yeah.
because I just had this truly, I think it was just God that spoke to me and kept me strong and kept saying, "It's gonna be okay." My mom went with me one day to one of my appointments and she was bawling. And I straight up looked at her and I said, "You're not allowed to cry. If I'm not crying, you're not crying." And she was
Okay.
like my poor mother. And she's okay. And she's just scared for me. And
Yes,
I'm
of
like,
course.
"No, we're not doing this. Okay. We're not doing this."
You're
And
not having a
I
pity
just
party?
think, yeah, yeah. I just think, yeah, it was just God that was like, "I've got you.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Everything's going to work out."
Wow.
That's
Wow.
all I can describe it as because I don't know where it came from.
Yeah. It's definitely something supernatural, but also as scared as your parents were, they really did amazingly with you because instilling those values in you, right? Because there's not a lot of people out there that would say the same. And it
Mhm,
at your core group had to be really strong. Your then boyfriend slash husband at the time had to be
mhm.
really strong as well. Because there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of guys that would have been like, peace out. This is not what
Yeah.
I signed up
Oh,
for.
yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
reality, when that hits of a child with special needs, when that really hits, it is so easy to be like, "No, thank you. I didn't
Mhm.
sign up for this. I really didn't."
Yeah. Yeah, and it changes the whole course of your life. He works at Boeing now, and
Mm,
he pushed to get into that career because he knew that they had such great medical benefits,
yeah.
and that was, like, immediately he was like, "Okay, what am I doing? Where are we going? I gotta get my career in line. We gotta get
Yeah.
medical benefits." Like,
Yeah.
he was just in full protector dad mode. He stepped up.
Wow. He should run a course for men these days. Because 'cause I'm serious. Because there's a
Yeah,
lot of guys these days, right? We see it
yeah,
all the time in our clinic where there's even not a diagnosis of special needs. There's not even a
mhm,
diagnosis of disability on the ultrasound. And I wanna say, like, 95% of the time, she's on the exam table, we're doing the ultrasound, she looks at the man in the room to see his reaction of, "Whoa, we're having a
yeah,
kid. What are you gonna do about this?" And I wanna say the sad part is these guys, they look like their world just ended. They look like,
yeah,
"How do we get rid of this problem? How did we get
mhm,
here?" They look like she's on her own. Good luck. You get to make this decision now to move forward or not. And I'm not part of this. And it's such a
yeah,
cop out reaction
mhm,
because
yeah,
men are not being taught these days to step up to something that
mhm.
they created together.
And if you're not willing to reap those repercussions, you
Yeah.
are procreating when you are doing the act, and
Yes.
it is a
Yes.
chance that, and if you're not willing to create a family with this woman that you are with, don't do it.
Yes. Yeah. I always say, you didn't fall into each other. Yeah. Like this was a choice that
No,
you made.
100%.
There's that situation, and I just wanna be like, "What are you doing?" Like, she is
Mhm.
looking to you for some sort of
Yeah.
reassurance that this is going to be
Yes.
okay. And, okay, there are some situations where they might break up or it doesn't work out, life happens, right? And, yes, that is
Mhm.
a very sad ending, but for you to sit there and act like this isn't your problem and you're gonna pressure her into doing something she instinctually
Yeah.
does not wanna
Mhm.
do, you're a freaking
Yeah.
dick. Like, you're just like
And you will also, she has to live with that her whole life. You get to
Yes.
just be like, "Oh, that was close."
Yeah, yeah,
Well, as she was almost a mom,
yeah,
you still have those instincts and you
right.
still have to live with yourself of what if?
Yes.
Or once you have that baby too, let me tell you, my husband, boyfriend at the time, was like chopped liver. Riker was in the NICU though for quite a while, and I was like, "I'm there all hours of the day.
Yeah.
You can sleep on that little couch right there. My baby needs me."
Yeah. Yeah,
You
and that
know?
is those are good instincts, right? Those are good things that
Yeah.
we as a society, I think, suppress a lot of the times because we put a lot of worldly priorities in front of our children majority of the
Mhm.
time. And so we think, okay, that's going to be fulfilling versus being next to our child who needs us, or the gift of motherhood, right, is so
Mhm.
important to protect. And yeah, like it comes down to these reactions that these guys have sometimes. And I'm just,
Mhm.
come on, dude, are you freaking kidding me? And this is why I'm
Yeah.
not in the exam room and my staff are so much
Yeah.
well trained because I would be like, I'm going to rough
Yeah.
you up outside.
Well, yeah, and what I think that people don't understand when they don't have kids, or they think they don't wanna have kids, or they think my life is over, I am pregnant. Your life truly begins when you have kids.
Oh,
Everything is so much better when you have
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Holidays, the magic of Christmas, the magic of it all, the
Mm-hmm.
tooth fairy,
Mm-hmm.
like, you name it, everything is just so much better.
Yeah.
And those are just tiny, those are like little things, but
Yeah.
everything is so much better. You get to be a kid again. You
Yeah.
get to be a kid with your kid. And who wants to grow up?
Yeah.
Like, growing up is a trap.
Yeah.
So you get to go back and be a kid with your kids. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then just see the world through their eyes is
Mm-hmm.
just incredible too. So I always tell people that your life really does begin when
Mm.
you become a parent and when you
Yeah.
have kids.
Yeah, it's just I say it seeing the world in like hyper like colors for the first time because everything through your child's
Mhm.
eyes is like new and amazing. And
Yes.
my son is really into rocks right now and he's just obsessed. And I was just like, dude, it's just a rock. But for him, this is the best thing that has ever been created.
Mhm.
And I'm going to collect as many as possible in my pocket. And then my mom finds it when she's doing my laundry.
Yes. But
But
then now you're looking and you're like, "Oh, that's a really cool
yeah,
rock. I
that's a
should
really
save
cool
this
rock,
for him."
actually. How was that
Yeah.
created? Or like, where did rocks
Yeah.
come from? And you do this like odd search in the middle of the night. But seriously, like you're so right that children are such a blessing. Every child is a wanted child. No child is a mistake.
Mhm.
And regardless of the trials that come with it, it's like it's supposed to be there for our own benefit when our child
Mhm.
needs us in that capacity. And your story,
Mhm.
that's the biggest part of your story is like your children have only added to the quality of your life. Their quality of life
Mhm.
has like against all these odds of these people telling you to terminate and telling you quality of life is not going to be good. There's going to be so many challenges. I rather
Mhm.
take these challenges and it's worked out.
It's truly a privilege to be their mom.
Mhm.
And my husband would say the same. We feel so incredibly blessed to be
Mm.
their parents.
Yeah.
Um, where, yeah, I know a lot of people are like, why would you? We've gotten a lot of comments. Why would you do this? You had one, then you went and did this to another one. You're terrible people.
Mm.
You name it,
Mhm.
they've said it.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
there are also amazing people that praise us too, and we're very grateful for that community. But yeah, there are a lot of people that question our motives and why we would do that.
Yeah, there's something there. There's some sort of trauma or backstory there. I can't say that everybody is motivated to say that to you because it's coming from it does come from ignorance because they've never
Mhm.
experienced maybe what you've experienced. And what I've seen is just like people don't know what to say. Sometimes
Yeah,
they just really
yeah.
don't know what to say and they say stupid things, quite frankly. And instead of
Stand. They just, yeah.
yeah, instead of saying something encouraging, which is a win-win situation for everybody, they say something stupid because they
Yeah.
just don't know what to say. That's been my realization as I've gotten older. Instead of just getting really angry at people's ignorance, it's just, oh gosh, you really don't know what to say in this situation because it's just too beyond your comprehension and you're going to say something stupid. So you know what? You can't fix stupid
Yeah.
sometimes.
No, and my best comebacks to people, because hurt people,
Mm,
and I truly believe that.
yeah.
I either apologize and say, "I'm so sorry that we hurt you. I'm so sorry that you didn't like." Someone
Oh,
said to one of the videos the other day that I posted about Riker, he was kicking a basketball into the net. And
wow.
the person said, "Why didn't he smile or celebrate when he made it in?" And I said, "He did. Did you not watch it? He smiled."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, he didn't jump up and down or do anything." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry you didn't like his reaction."
Yeah. So
He's a
weird.
very chill kid. He's not.
Yeah.
But I just choose to either come back with something where I either agree with them.
Yeah.
A lot of people have commented and said, you and your husband must be related. And my best response to them is, yes, we are brother and sister.
Mm.
Can you not tell the resemblance? You just have to hit them back with, because they either they want to hurt you
Yeah.
or they want
Yeah.
you to fight with them. And when you don't give them anything
Yeah.
and they're like, wait, that wasn't the response that I wanted, then they
Yeah.
just go away and they never cut me.
Take the wind out of their sails kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just it doesn't bother me. I think that so far there's been so many negative comments and people have said so many things that
That's
at
wild to
this
me.
point I think I've read it all.
Yeah. So wild.
And I don't let Riker read any of the comments either. I read him comments, but I don't let him openly scroll. Like, he knows he can watch the videos on my phone, but he's not allowed to open the
Watch the
comments.
comments. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think people just, yeah, don't realize. I get a lot of messages a day of people saying, oh, you don't deserve this. You shouldn't read the comments. And I'm like, oh, don't even worry. Like, we're still living our day to day. Those comments don't affect us at all. We're still going to wake up and have breakfast and move about our day.
Yeah. That blows my mind that people say that to you. That just, instead of saying, look at what incredible parents you are, look at this like amazing children that you've brought into this world. They are perfect in their own way. Like, you don't get to decide what is quote unquote normal or what is not normal. It's like we
Right.
all have our crap. Like, we all have our,
Hmm.
regardless if it shows in
Yeah.
something physical or not, right? We all carry these
Yeah.
baggages, and that's just wild. It
And
just blows my mind.
I've carried my own mom guilt for the
Mm,
last almost 12 years now. I
mm,
went to therapy when I was pregnant. I had a really rough pregnancy emotionally.
mm.
I struggled a lot and I had a lot of guilt because this syndrome comes from me and people love to try to pull that out of me. But it's kind of like, I've been dealing with this for 12 years and you random stranger on the internet, you're not going to trigger me.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, having my second son absolutely restarted the mom guilt all over again.
Mm,
But I think every mom carries mom guilt. It's just different levels to it. And
yeah.
mine happens to be a little heightened.
Yeah.
And my husband and I have had so many conversations about it. And he just always reiterates, like, it's not my fault. This is just what happened. And I wish that I had this syndrome. I wish it was me that gave it to them so
Mm,
you didn't have to carry the burden of it. But I've done a lot of work in that area and just tried to get rid of that mom guilt a little bit. It's hard though. It's hard when you struggle with it and then you put yourself on the internet. The first probably month of us sharing our lives publicly, I struggled and I was like, I had hard days where I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can read these comments. I already have this mom guilt that I've already worked through. And then we get on the internet and it's coming back out. But now I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, okay, your comments actually don't affect my life. My kids are still great. I might
yeah. Yeah.
struggle here and there with that, but yeah, I think I've done a lot of work.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think it
Yeah.
humanizes you in so many levels and gives me such just more in awe of who you are, because like you're not hiding that part of yourself. There is absolutely mom guilt regardless of your children are come out with a disability or not, right? It's like you just have it because you just want the best for them at every single point of their lives.
Hmm.
And that's just a really normal and natural thing that comes with motherhood, I think. Some of it can be encompassing and you can be definitely crippled by it in some ways, but some of it is just natural and normal. And we just have to find a way to cope with it or navigate it or touch base with a professional that could help us move forward and not just
Yeah.
be a dying store on the floor
Yeah.
when our children
Yeah.
expect more of us than we can give at some times.
Hmm.
But it's just like your life wasn't a mistake. You having the ability to have children was not a mistake. That could have easily been, you could have easily come out and not be able to have kids. And I think
Mhm.
so many times, like with my own
Yeah.
infertility journey personally, there were a lot of times where I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't supposed to be a mom,
Yeah. Yeah.
was the guilt of what I carried. And a lot of people
Yeah.
said that kind of stuff. It's just like, oh, that just wasn't what you're built to do. But as a woman, you're just like, that is what I'm supposed to do. And through the
Yeah.
years of
Yep.
really coming to peace with where what my superpower is just like I was supposed to be a mother to this adopted child. And that is
Yes.
so good. And that should be celebrated in its own kind of world in itself. And
100%.
yeah, as women, we are able to be mothers in so many different ways. And getting back to what I said initially is like we see a child, we see something small and sweet and innocent, and we are called to love that child wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I think there's very few people in my life that I know that wouldn't sacrifice for a child regardless if they're related to them or not, and that's just
Yeah.
how we're built, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I think too, like touching on like the infertility side of things, I wasn't infertile. I have a very rare uterus
Mhm,
also.
mhm.
My doctor always used to call it a unicorn uterus, but it's like a bi-unicornuate something.
Oh,
And there's only 1 to 2% of women that have it. Again,
wow.
not related to my syndrome. And so I was already high risk just because my uterus is small. And I want to say it's like pear shaped. And so I can't go full term with my babies. I have to have C sections. I can't vaginally deliver. And then, so after I had Riker, I had a C section. They actually had to do a vertical and diagonal or vertical and horizontal cut for the
Wow.
C-section. And so they
Wow.
were like, yeah, even regardless, you'll never have a VBAC after this
Ooh.
because just my uterus was so small. And I had him at 35 weeks. But after that, I actually found out that I had cervical cancer, which was, again, very rare, not a typical case, very
Mhm,
young.
mhm.
All of the things like didn't make sense. And so due to that and the surgeries that I had to have for treatment, there was a lot of scarring. I had no outer cervix. They couldn't even get, you can't even really get into my cervix. It's very difficult to
Wow.
swab or anything
Oh.
because it's so scarred.
Mhm,
I was told because of that, naturally getting pregnant would be close to impossible. On
mhm,
top of the uterus that I have,
mhm.
is already can lead to infertility. You already have a very high risk of infertility. So I had even just getting pregnant with Riker, they were like, "Wow, how your uterus is like this is not typical. We
Yeah.
don't see most people need to do IVF when they have uteruses like this," which was my girlfriend who adopted. She
Mm.
shockingly has the same uterus as me and couldn't conceive.
Wow.
So we started IVF in 2021. We started it before, so it's maybe end of 2019 where we saw an IVF clinic. We started the process.
Mm.
We figured out at what point I would need a cerclage to make sure that my cervix stayed closed. All of the things we had put into place, and then the pandemic hit, and that's when we were like, okay, obviously everything shut down, we're break. And then we were like, how do we want to bring a baby into this world? Do we want to have another one? There was such madness going on. We finally had decided in 2021 on my husband's birthday, we're like, let's move forward with IVF. Let's do
Mm.
it.
Mhm.
And exactly 1 month later, we actually had COVID at the time. I had to DoorDash pregnancy test because I just felt off. And my husband's like, you are not pregnant. You know, you're not pregnant. You just have COVID and you feel funny.
Mm.
I'm like, no, this feels different. And so, sure enough, exactly 1 month after I had emailed our IVF clinic, we found out we were naturally pregnant with Rhett. And that was so shocking and obviously very scary. And we were doing IVF not only for the fertility side of things, but also most importantly for the genetic screenings and to make sure that we did not pass on LAD one more time because we obviously knew that the form of LAD that we had was it was like we didn't know what could be. You know, we didn't know how
Mm.
severe it could
Mm.
be. And it was just scary. And we were like, we don't want to go down that road again. But then here's Rhett in all his glory, and he was truly meant to be here. His personality is just so fun and so wild, but they were both blessings for
Mhm,
us, and it
mhm.
wasn't the way that we were wanting to go about it, and I think people don't understand obviously that because again, in the People article, it just touches on
Yeah.
the fact that we were gonna do IVF and then we got naturally pregnant, but we wanted to do genetic testing
So your second child wasn't through IVF? Ah,
naturally, yeah. So I had
wow,
emailed
okay,
the IVF clinic and said, "Okay, we wanna ramp back up. What do we need to do? Where do
okay,
we start?" And exactly 1 month later, I was naturally pregnant.
okay. And is your second son, Rhett, is he diagnosed with LAD as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. Yep. He also has upper limb deficiencies.
okay.
His arms are different. One of his arms is looks just like Riker's. He's more capable with that hand though. Riker's not really able to use his hand very much. He can carry light things underneath like his armpit and like he can hook things. He has his arm up to about like a little past the elbow and then his wrist kind of bends in and he has four fingers.
Okay,
And he uses like his pinky a lot. That's like his most used appendage, I would say.
okay.
He can carry things like he's a lot more capable, but he is like a foot user too. So he does both.
And how was that journey? Was that the same? I know you talked about the same guilt that came from the
Yeah.
kind of the first pregnancy, but did you get the same pressure from the medical providers as the first?
No, no,
Okay.
not as much. We
Okay.
did get asked, but so we were seeing, and immediately we went to maternal and infant care, the same clinic.
Mhm.
And they had told me previously that my doctor, because my boys are 8 years apart, my doctor was just too busy now, wasn't taking new client or new patients. But the day that we were going in to get an ultrasound to see if there was any abnormalities
Mhm.
was the day that she found out I was in clinic.
Mhm.
And she just busted through the door and was like, I'm going to do this ultrasound. I'm so sorry. I'm taking her over. She's my patient. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, God. It was
Yeah.
like everything was aligning. And she actually was the one that did the ultrasound, saw his upper limbs, and said, this is what this looks like. This looks like it. We can do genetic testing. It's up to you if you want to move forward while you're pregnant. But this right here confirms what we
Mhm.
already know.
Mhm.
So I think having her again on our team was super helpful. We didn't go to genetic counseling with our second because we basically already knew. I think we had one appointment and they briefly said, "Do you want to move forward?"
Mm.
And we said
Mm.
yes, and that
Mhm.
was that. With our first son, it was so much of we didn't know what he had going on. We didn't know
Right.
that it was LAD, that we were seeing genetic counseling so much.
Mhm.
That's where we were like, I don't want to say pressured, but questioned a lot. I don't want to say pressured because I never felt pressured because I was so strong in my convictions. But to anybody else that was more fragile and maybe didn't have the support would have felt pressured.
Yeah.
But no, with Rhett, we didn't because we didn't have to go seek genetic counseling. We already knew what to
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah.
But again, when we were pregnant with him, I'm sure everyone was questioning whether this baby would have it or not. But again, I
Mhm.
chose to keep it private.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
chose not to share. I didn't share it until he was at least a couple days old. The initial announcement of us having him, he was bundled up and I just shared that we had him. And then on my terms,
Mhm. Mhm.
our family terms, we decided to share with the world. This is how he was born. He's super special.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Here you go. But again, to keep some of that normalcy and to not worry about people's opinions, I
Yeah.
think we wanted to keep it private and close to our hearts and never out of being ashamed or any negative feelings. It was more of just we wanted to celebrate him and not have to worry about the other stuff.
Yeah. it's your pregnancy. You can do whatever you want with how you want to share
Yeah.
that. So you
Yeah.
don't owe,
100%.
you don't owe the world this. You've already shed so much insight into your life that I don't think that you owe us anything to share it from moments that you don't want to, because
Right.
it's your own very much personal journey through your own pregnancy. And it sounds like you knew when it was the right time to reach out. You knew it was the right time to share what you wanted to share, and people should respect that. So,
Yeah. I think there's some sort of entitlement with people on the internet where they just want to know everything
yeah,
about
no.
your life. And then they're like, you're choosing to be public. You should tell us. Yeah, but we're real people.
Yeah.
We like really are living this life.
Yes, our world is pretty entitled these days on a variety of things. Not just
Hmm.
that, but it's just, oh, well, you share everything about yourself. Why don't you want to share this part? And it's maybe because I'm not ready. Maybe because you're going to say something dumb and I don't want to share it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So, yeah. What's one of the last things you want to say to our listeners about your beautiful family? I know that you mentioned before we got started that you said you want to shed light on children that
Yeah.
deal with disability. And I think you've done such a beautiful job of being so candid with us leading up to that. And just pictures of your boys are just so precious. They're just so
Thank you. I know it doesn't hurt that they're so adorable.
cute. Yeah.
I think the biggest message that we are trying to get across would be that kids with disabilities are just as capable of living a full and what's normal
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And they're happy and they're thriving and they do my boys do everything that any other kids have. I'm looking out back we at our trampoline right now. They jump on the trampoline, they play with a dog, they wrestle each other. Our life looks different to you, but I promise we're doing all the same things that you are. It just looks different. And I think that goes along with every kid with disabilities. Their lives are just as important and worth living as any other typical able bodied person.
Mm.
I think a lot of people think that this world wasn't made or designed for people with disabilities. And I agree to an extent that it's not, but that's where people like us and families like us need to educate and say,
Mm.
hey, if you put a door handle down below so that people can use their feet to open the door, that's really inclusive. Or put a push button so that they can
Hmm?
handicap can
Mm-hmm.
open the doors or little things. Disabilities is not a life sentence. It's actually a really fulfilling life.
Mm.
And I feel like everyone that has been a part of my kids' lives are very grateful to experience them. Riker was in a preschool class. It was a Montessori, and the owner of the Montessori was so grateful for me to bring him there because she was like, we're teaching these young kids about empathy and compassion. And I truly think that's a conversation that more families need to have also
Mm.
is about differences. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone's different, whether you see it on the outside, the inside, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just overall educating people, like our life might look a little bit different, but we're just as happy and thriving as the next.
Yeah. And I guess like piggyback on that a little bit. It's just you guys are like normal people. You guys are just like everyday people doing
Yeah,
these things. And obviously special people, but aren't we all like come with our
yeah,
gifts and our baggage and our shortcomings, but it doesn't prevent us from living fulfilling lives. It's just your attitude about it. It's like really comes down to like how you look at your life and being like, am I going to be a wet blanket all the time about the cards
yeah,
that I'm dealt? Or am I going to say,
mhm,
okay, this is the reality of things and how do we move
yeah,
forward and still find goodness in people and
yeah,
situations? And
yeah,
there is resilience that we get to build because of the struggles that we go through, because of the suffering that or the cross that we're dealt with. It's not this, oh my gosh, we shouldn't be here because we
yeah.
shouldn't go through those things.
We're not victims. We are actually very blessed. And yeah, I think that the biggest thing is, yeah, not living like victims,
Mm, mm.
because for us, we're like, I feel like so lucky, so blessed, so grateful for these boys.
Yeah. Yeah. You probably couldn't imagine your life without them.
Oh
Like,
my gosh. No. We always joke too. Our sons both have hearing loss. Our little guy wears cochlear implants. And so he's completely deaf when his processors are not on. And our oldest has bone conductive. He can hear if you like yell at him,
yeah.
but he wears a processor also. And my husband and I always joke, what do like regular parents do at night? We gotta shut our kids off. Like when Riker doesn't want to go to bed, I'm like, dude, sorry,
Yeah.
you're off now. It's bedtime. Go get into bed. Or like when they have sleepovers, I'm like, Riker can't hear anymore. You got to go to bed. Sorry. So we've always joked, like, we get to turn our kids off. What do you guys do?
Or when they
What's
get,
your superpower?
I was watching this TikTok video of this child who was like getting annoyed of his mom's voice. So he just took it out.
I so can feel that being Rhett. He's so spicy. I know that one of these days I'm going to be like lecturing
Yeah.
him or giving him the what's for, and he's going to be like,
Yeah. He's just like turning
just,
you
yeah.
turning you off, mom.
Yep. Our oldest has never done that to us, but never say never, I
Yeah.
guess.
Thank you so much for your story. Thank you so much for being who you guys are and standing up to what the world thinks should have been a normal, easy decision for you guys. You've obviously made the right things and said yes to hard things, but it has immensely blessed you tenfold. It's like you said, you can't imagine your life without these children, and you can't imagine people not experiencing your family and the blessings of your children. So thank you to you and your husband for not succumbing to the pressures that were there at the moment and saying yes to whatever that came, because your story is phenomenal. It's amazing. And more people should know that having a disability is not the end of the world. So
Yeah.
it's not.
Thank you so much. That was really sweet of you to say.
Oh, I hope that people listen to this. I hope people get inspired. I hope people reach out in nice ways, appropriate ways, and just learn that there's a different conversation that could be had about children with disability, and they can go on living amazing lives, and they're not a mistake that should be gone from this world.
Yeah. And if they reach out to me and they're in a similar situation, I hope that our story helps them and helps ease their decision making, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Madison. Thank you for your husband. He sounds awesome.
He's pretty great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Please give your boys a big hug for me. And I can't wait to see, I follow you on Instagram, so I can't wait to see like what their future holds, and just keep doing what you guys are doing. You guys are amazing parents. My goodness. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're trying.
Every day, 1 foot at a time. For more information about 3W, please visit our website at 3wmedical.org. That's the number 3, the letter W, medical.org. From there, you can learn more information about the services we provide, book an appointment, or make a donation if you'd like to support our mission. You can also call our office at 206-588-0311. That's 206-588-0311. If you like this episode, please share it with others and consider subscribing on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, stay healthy and be well.